Welcome to 4 Oak Street. So today I'm going to be focusing on the module that comes after the farm which you're looking at now. So a little bit more about this construction method, and I think it's fairly simple to use. And you'll notice on this module I have now actually continued on with the retaining wall, which you see starts sort of opposite the farm. So this retaining wall joins at the module joint and continues on right the way through to where the 4 tracks will then converge, go across the drop down section over a series of bridges onto the module there before the layout will terminate around about where those clothes are there. When I say terminate, I mean turn around. So the 4 tracks split into 2 twos and join up. So that you can see then just over the other side there is the helix, and then the various modules. You can see my work trolley, quite a bit of mess in this room, but you can see the bit more perspective of the layout, and you can also see a little bit more work has gone into the farm area with a few more buildings, but by no means finished yet. So last weekend I decided I needed to get stuck in and get cracking. So the first thing was to build this wall, and this wall is absolutely rock solid. So all it is cardboard which goes right down to the actual, you can see right down into the to the actual board, and then either side of the edge of the track bed you then put a second piece of card, which then creates obviously the right width for the wall, and there's a piece of card then that sits underneath. So what it means is you have a piece of card either side of the actual track bed, and then I've attached a few little flaps that you can maybe see, which then make the whole thing really robust. And then it's just a question of covering it in the brick paper, making loads of these, which is just cardboard folded over, and then these obviously become the uprights. So what I will then do is there will be, in this gap here, there'll be obviously some sort of small bank vegetation. When most of the work is complete, I will then add the capping stones, which you can see I've done on there as also a bit of weathering. So this section here, I'll just wind back. This section here, you can see that the 4 lines part, 2 stay pretty much on the level and eventually go underneath the road bridge which I'm looking at now, whilst the left lane 2 tracks there gradually rise up, so they then enter the viaduct on the top side there, which is probably about, I'd have to check, but probably about 50 or 60 mil, but it's a pretty gentle climb. So what I want to do is just show you a little bit about how easy it is to do this construction method. So one of the first things is actually building this the sides, if you like, and this is a side piece. So you can see it's just 6mm MDF with I think this is a 12mm square, not sure what it's made of, pine I suppose, which is screwed and painted, and then this then creates the profile that you see here. So obviously, following on from the section where the farm was, I decided I wanted a slight rise around where my fingers are. This dictates, I suppose, the profile. So when I first put this on, the back profile board here, it was quite a bit higher and it didn't look right. So I left it for a few days and came back to it until in the end I was more happy with the way that it actually flowed into this section here. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just show you how easy it is to actually put one of these blocks in. So because my big slab of this, this is actually the product here, made in Turkey. So Bastion XPS. So I bought this at my local Bunnings, which is like your B&Q, I suppose. It was about $20 for a 600 by or 1200 by 600. Yeah, the dimensions are here. So this is what it looks like. So when I actually put the profile together, because this is more than 50mm, you would either do layers that sat on the board horizontally like this, or you actually do what I've done here, which is putting in lots of pieces. Now it looks like a lot of work, but you can actually put one of these pieces in and shape it within about 3 or 4 minutes. So the first thing that you do is you get a piece of the block here. You make sure it's square on that side, square on the bottom side, which generally they are. And then you just need to cut the little square out, which you can see here, where that sits against the backboard, if you like, against that 12mm. So once you've then marked it, I just simply cut it with a saw like this, and it just cuts like butter. So it's very, very, very simple. Put this back in. This hasn't been screwed yet. So when I actually do this side, because a big chunk of it is actually under 50mm, I can actually lay the block like that and then mark it and cut it. But as mentioned with this, I have to, I've done it in lots of sections, like slices of bread. So what I then do is I simply follow on from the last section with my pen, follow the profile at the back, follow the profile at the front here, so you end up with the line. And you think, right, okay, so I could use a hot wire, but it's so simple. So based on that line there, I'm just going to put my saw and get it pretty close, just straight through. Just make sure I don't go onto my track bed. So there's a big chunk of it done already. So next thing, I take my file, which is quite rough, I suppose. I'm not sure what you would call it, but anyway, it is a fairly rough file. So then, with this, you can then just shape it. Now possibly, maybe I should wear a mask with this, maybe there's been enough mask wearing, but anyway, so here we go. I've got it roughly to where I want it. I now slide it in like that. It will eventually be glued, and then you can then just, I'll just bring the camera around, very simply, not banging the wall, just bring it right down to the edge of that board, and it's a bit messy. I can take this right down to the edge of the track. That's when you bring out your handheld and clean it up a bit. So I might not actually go any further with this until I glue them. So all I simply do is like what I've done here. I got to 11, that was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So all I'll do is take out each piece. I think I've already glued up to about here. So I'll just take out each piece like this, and then I'll just then PVA to the bottom. Just give it a light rub on here. And that's pretty much it. And then you can just look along at the profile and you can decide whether you want it more of a bank. So what my thoughts are here is to actually put a hedge around sort of about this area, more sort of undergrowth next to the track, but a nice hedge, and then cornfields. So quite a few cornfields here is what the plan is. So that's the way I do it. Now for me, I like it, I haven't used any plaster on this layout at all. I'm not saying this is the best way, but it's certainly an alternative. And the thing I like it is that you can just keep shaping it until you're really happy with what it is. So when I come to do this section here, so what I'll probably do is, here's my slab. Because this is actually higher than the profile, I can actually use a slab. So once again, I'll just cut it, get it to where it is, draw a line here where the track bed is, and then work out the shape. Obviously that's a quicker method than this, but I started the wall last weekend, and then this week I've done the odd hour here and there, but yeah, these are very quick to put in. So this would be the next one. So first thing I'll do is make sure this is square. So you know, I do use my trusty square a fair bit. So very simple, just draw a line, and then back to the old file. And this is so easy to work. It's just simple as to work. And then when it's all done, then I will be covering it with one sort of layer of paper and PVA, and there'll be sections. So just moving up to around this section here, needs a little bit of building up, which you can do with paper. You can get you know, paper and PVA. You can get the edge of the newspaper to make sure you get the joint spot on where the two modules meet. Yeah, it's a good method. I think particularly a potentially good method for N-gauge, because you are dealing in obviously smaller areas. if you were obviously doing double O gauge or bigger, you know, it might take a significantly longer time, this method. But that's it. So just in regard, we've had our hottest spell in 100 years in Perth. Something like so many days that were 40 degrees. So it's almost, I suppose, to a point where you don't want to go outside, it's that hot. So in that time we've had a new puppy, so progress has been a little bit slow. So, but I am hoping to get this module done so I can start thinking about the bridges on the next one. And before I go, I'd like to just thank Mark from Piddling the Marsh. The other day I sent him a message just asking him the best way to configure my two Pullmans so that they run accurately, so they're at the same speed pretty much. And Mark sent me all the instructions, but I haven't got round to it yet. But I will do, because obviously then the next, when I've done this, I want to get a running session. I want to actually do a bit of film of the trains diverging maybe from one level to the other. So so that's about it. So thanks for everybody who comments and watches. And I do, if I've missed any videos, it's not because I'm not interested in your layout. It's sometimes I just miss them, but then I see them a few weeks later and try and catch up. So great seeing those other layouts, and I hope everybody's doing just fine, and England's starting, by the looks of it, to get back to a bit of normality. So until the next episode from Four Oaks, thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.